All right, strap in everyone for this deep dive. We're going full-on sci-fi this time. You sent in excerpts from the Lone Capsuleer, and wow, it is jam-packed. Lost colonies, ancient secrets of Earth, you name it.
It's crazy how these stories, even though they're made up, get us thinking, about our place in the universe and all the what-ifs of history.
For sure. And the excerpts you sent in, they focus on these space explorers,
Hmm.
Valen and Eliana. They find these ancient Jovian star charts. We're talking
Mhm.
thousands of years old.
Imagine that, though, right? Star charts that old. I mean, it means they were out there among the stars. When we were barely figuring out farming, I mean, what happened to them?
Well, like, did they transcend or evolve or something? Or was there some kind of huge disaster? And it just gets weirder because these charts lead them to this abandoned Jovian space station hidden inside a nebula.
Like a ghost ship in space, just frozen in time. And
Yeah.
inside, they find this holographic message. It's from a Jovian, and it talks about these gate builders, and it has this warning about something called the Rift.
Okay, so the rift is the key to figuring out what happened to Earth. But it also sounds super dangerous, like maybe it was a rip in space-time caused by technology going too far.
The message calls it a wound caused by hubris, so yeah, definitely sounds like some kind of human mess up with huge consequences.
Okay, get this picture. Valen and Eliana are taking all this in. And suddenly their rivals, the Thunderdogs, show up. It's a near miss, and I am already hooked.
It definitely adds that danger, that urgency, like they're in a race against time and these powerful forces to find the truth.
Totally. And get this, the Jovian message. It tells them to go to Procyon Prime. But that's deep in Red Noga Syndicate territory. Talk about out of the frying pan into the fire.
Procyon Prime, that's going to be the next piece of the puzzle then. But here's where it gets even more intense. They get another message and it says the path is cursed.
Cursed. Okay, now I'm really in. What do you think? Like a real curse? Or more of a metaphor for the dangers of messing with things we don't understand?
It's interesting, right? The story leaves it open. It could be supernatural. Or maybe the consequences of their actions become the curse.
Ooh, I like that. Like they set off something they can't control.
Exactly. Or what if they find out something that shatters everything they thought they knew? Or forces them to face their own inner demons? It's classic storytelling, Makes the characters and us, the audience, face the unknown.
And speaking of the unknown, let's unpack this rift a little more. What are we thinking here? Wormhole, dimensional tear, something even weirder.
$1 million question. And it makes you think beyond our current understanding of, well, everything.
Right. Like, what if it's a rip in reality from someone messing with time travel? Or a door to a parallel universe?
All possibilities. And, the idea that unlocking it might reveal Earth's fate, that's fascinating. What if Earth is just gone, swallowed by the rift, or changed in a way we can't even grasp?
Whoa, mind blown. Give me a sec to process this.
Take your time. That's the best part about these deep dives, Exploring these big ideas, letting those imaginations run wild.
Okay, I'm back. And I gotta ask, if you were Valen or Eliana, would you risk it all to unlock this rift? Knowing it could be dangerous, what's pushing them, do you think?
That's a great question. It's about human nature, isn't it? Is it just curiosity, that need to know no matter the cost? Or something deeper, like needing to understand their past or find something lost?
Maybe both. Like the scientist in them has to know, but there's also this pull toward the unknown, maybe even tied to their own personal stories.
Right, maybe there's a personal connection to the mystery, something that makes risking everything worth it. But for whatever reason, they're heading to Procyon Prime, and that's where things are going to get really interesting.
Okay, so before we move on to Procyon Prime, let's recap. Ancient Jovian star charts lead to a derelict space station. Holographic message talks about the rift, key to Earth's fate. We've got rival factions, cryptic warning about a curse, and our explorers heading into Red Nova Syndicate territory.
You left out the Thunderdogs. Who knows when they'll pop up again?
You are so right. They're out there somewhere, making everything even more dangerous.
Exactly. It all builds this amazing story full of suspense.
Absolutely. Now let's head to Procyon Prime and see what awaits in the heart of Red Nova territory. All right, so Valen and Eliana, they're off to Procyon Prime, deep in Red Nova Syndicate territory. I'm kind of picturing like the futuristic Mos Eisley Cantina. Shady characters, dangerous deals, the works. What do you think?
Yeah, I can see that. The Red Nova Syndicate, they're known for being ruthless, and they've got their fingers in everything, trade routes, black markets, you name it. Valen and Eliana are going to have to be careful, blend in so they don't attract the wrong kind of attention.
Especially if the Thunderdogs are still on their trail. They got to be like one step ahead the whole time.
Yeah,
So how do they even approach this? Do they try to go undercover or...
that makes sense, right? But they're also trying to find this key, the thing that's supposed to unlock the secrets of the rift. So it's not like they can just lay low. They've got a mission.
True. Which makes me wonder, what even is this key? Is it an actual thing? A code? Some tech? Or, like, something we're not even thinking of?
That's what keeps you hooked, right? The author could take this anywhere. It could be a real key, like an ancient artifact, something that activates a portal or a device. Or it could be something more abstract, a piece of knowledge, maybe, or a genetic trait that only certain people have.
Ooh, like maybe Valen and Aliana are ye the key. Or part of it. Maybe their DNA is what unlocks the rift.
It would fit, right? That whole
Right.
theme of ancestry, heritage, like the answers we're looking for are inside us all along.
Okay, brain officially fried again. I love how this story makes you think big, but also keeps the adventure going.
Totally. And don't forget the danger. Valen and Eliana are walking a tightrope here. If the Syndicate figures out what they're after, things are going to get messy.
Plus, there's that curse hanging over them.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? Is it a real curse, like a supernatural thing, or a spell?
It's definitely creepy, adds a whole layer of suspense. It could be a literal curse. Or maybe it's more metaphorical, like it represents what happens when they mess with stuff they shouldn't, or what they find out when they unlock forbidden knowledge.
Ooh, I like that. Like, the act of opening the rift unleashes something terrible. Or maybe the knowledge itself is just too much for humans to handle.
Exactly, like Pandora's box, right? Once it's open, there's no going back. And that brings up the whole question of, like, is some knowledge better left alone? And who gets to decide what we should or shouldn't know?
Yeah, those are questions people have been debating forever. And this story just brings it to life in a really cool way.
Absolutely.
So where do you see this going? Will they find the key, unlock the rift? What will they find on the other side? And will they even survive the Syndicate in this curse?
$1 million question, right? But I think the author's setting us up for a major showdown. We've got the quest, the enemies, the secrets, the time pressure. It's all there.
And don't forget what it means for Valen and Aliana personally. We've talked about why they're doing this, but what are they willing to give up to reach their goal? Will they stick to their values, or will this quest, like, change them for the worse?
You're right. You're right. In the end, I think this story is about way more than just finding a key and opening a portal. It's about the choices we make, what happens because of those choices, and what it means to be human.
Well said. I think that's the perfect spot to pause for this part of our deep dive. We've gone through the mysteries of the Lone Capsuleer, explored the Red Nova Syndicate, and even thought about this curse and the key. But there's so much more to discover.
Oh yeah, the adventure continues, and I can't wait to see where it goes next.
You know, as we've been talking about Valen and Aliana's journey, I keep coming back to that Jovian message. The one that calls the rift a wound caused by hubris. It really makes you think, like, what could they have done that was so arrogant it left a scar on the cosmos?
It's a powerful image, that's for sure. And it's not just sci-fi, right? Look at Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Or, how we're destroying the rainforest. We push and push boundaries without really knowing what'll happen. Maybe the Jovians, even with all their tech, did the same thing.
That's a scary thought. So if they created the rift, does that mean Valen and Aliana are basically heading into a disaster zone? Could opening it put them, or even all of humanity, at risk?
It's possible, yeah. And it makes you think, is there some knowledge that's just too dangerous? Maybe the Jovians were trying to warn us, not tempt us?
I see that. But what about the curse? What if that's not something the Jovians did? What if it's just like a natural consequence of messing with the rift? Like opening it unleashes something chaotic, something we can't predict.
That's interesting. It's like the laws of physics pushing back, trying to protect themselves. Maybe the curse is the universe trying to heal.
Okay, now I'm really seeing the rift as a wound. So if it's a wound, what does it need to heal? Do Valen and Aliana have to close it? Or could they, I don't know, understand it? Control it somehow?
Now that is the question. Maybe the Jovians weren't trying to destroy the rift, but contain it. Maybe the key isn't about opening it, but about keeping it stable, stopping it from causing more damage.
Okay, now that is a twist. So Valen and Aliana aren't just explorers. They're like cosmic surgeons trying to fix reality. No pressure, right?
Exactly. And it makes their choices even more important. Do they shut it down, maybe cut off whatever's on the other side? Or do they try to live with it, even if it means things could get worse?
You know, this all makes me think about what we're doing today. With tech, with exploration, we're always pushing limits. But are we thinking far enough ahead? Are we learning from past mistakes, or are we going to make the same ones all over again?
That's the question, isn't it? Science fiction often gives us a warning, a way to see what could go wrong without actually having to live through it. Maybe the Lone Capsuleer is telling us to look at our own rifts, the damage we're doing to the planet, the dangers of AI, all the ethical stuff with gene editing.
Yeah, it makes you think. But it also, in a way, gives us power. We can choose a different path, learn from the mistakes, even if they're just imagined, from those who came before.
And maybe Valen and Aliana, even though they're fictional, can be our guide. They're making tough choices in a dangerous place, carrying the weight of history. But they're doing it with bravery, with smarts, and with this deep need to understand the universe and their place in it.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Lone Capsuleer, I really hope our listeners feeling that sense of wonder, that thirst for knowledge, and just a deeper appreciation for how stories can help us understand ourselves.
And maybe a little healthy fear of what might be out there in space.
Always good to remember.
Mhm.
Until next time, everyone, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep looking up at the stars. Who knows what we'll find up there?